Ladies and gentlemen, of course, my name is DJ Reg West. Welcome back to another edition of Wave Files. On this episode of Wave Files, I have somebody on this show today. Folks, he's a hip-hop historian. You've seen him everywhere. I mean, he interviews everybody. I'm blessed that he's actually taking some time to let me interview him because right now, he's on his promo run. He's got an album out right now. He raps. Folks, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Mr. Rob Markman. Rob, what up, bro?
Hey, man, I'm chilling, man. Thank you for having me, man. That was a dope intro.
I appreciate you for actually stopping and taking the time today. I really appreciate it. Like your tenure in this game is very, very cemented. You have, man, like I just appreciate you taking the time. Let me just say that. Word up.
Yeah, nah, you got it, man. I know, you hit me. You told me that you were starting something, and getting the ball rolling, and I know what that's like to start something new and you be known for one thing and you trying to pivot into another thing. And my thing is we all children of hip hop, man, and we all owe it to hip hop. So, if we can't be community, if we can't be there for each other, then what are we even doing? So when you hit me up, man, it was an easy call, man.
That's facts, and I appreciate that. Speaking of transitioning, let's get right into it. You have a new album out.
Yeah.
It's fire. This is your third project, correct?
Thank you. Yeah, this is my third project. It's called "If You Don't, You'll Regret It." And,
why did you name it that?
That's just the ethos I live by. Like, my company, my independent company is called Right to Dream. It's all about aspiration and inspiration. My second project was called "It's Too Late at the Wake." And I just feel like with my album titles, I kind of want to say something that's going to stick to the dreamers, to the people who aspire for something higher. So this is "If You Don't, You'll Regret It." It's just basically like we get one life to live. We only get so many shots. We only get so many opportunities. And a lot of times the things that stand in our way be our own self. It really starts with the self-doubt. Yo, can I do it? Yo, what are they going to say? Yo, what is so-and-so going to think? Yo, how is this going to look? Yo, am I good enough? And you got to get out your own way first. You got to believe in you before you ask anybody else to believe in you. So, it's just me telling people and telling myself, like, man, get your shit off, because if you don't, you regret it. You know what I mean? When it's too late, it's too late, but we still got time. So come on.
No, that's factual. That's very, very factual. Like I said to you offline, I went through the project twice. Almost crashed the car laughing so hard at a line you said. So some of the standouts to me are like just off two listens. I love the joint where you sampled the J record, which obviously you don't have clearance for because you told us in the record.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a ball move. I figured that'd be fun.
Look, it's gonna get some attention, right? At the end of the day, it's gonna get some attention.
Yeah. I had definitely I'm not gonna say who because I don't want to blow up their spot, but definitely some independent artists and some real prominent independent artists who have made some noise. I'm like, man, what do I do about these samples? And they're like, look, man, if they come after you, that means the record is big enough. So you got a good problem. So
that's facts.
Yeah, that was the Good Friday record that I put on my album featuring Cantrell. It was produced by Devious Minds, and he sampled a live version of Kanye West's "Father Stretch My Hands." When Kanye was out there with the choir, and it was funny because he sent me that beat by accident. Devious Minds. He was like, he'll just send me beats, and he sent me the beat, and then about 15 minutes later, he was like, "Yo, I didn't mean to send that to you. I just chopped that up because that was just me practicing working on chopping something up. I know you're not going to use it because the sample, we never going to clear it. So
that's God, boy.
Disregard that beat
right there.
He said, disregard that beat. I said, bro, it's too late. I already wrote the first verse in the hook in 15 minutes. So we just said we're going to roll with it. So that's Good Friday on the album featuring Cantrell, produced by Devious Minds.
So I noticed that record came out maybe a few months ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you put together your albums? Is it more so like you just drop singles until you get to the point of like, all right, I think I'm ready to put an album out with it?
Yeah, I tell you, I just found something that worked for me. Look, man, first of all, for those who don't know, just me being in media and me being a journalist, and me being known for that, you know, I'm asking people to do a stretch of the imagination to now also envision me as a rapper and a creative. I feel like it's a little bit easier for the Joe Buttons and the Noris of the world to kind of go from rap superstar than to get, and not to discredit the work that they put in, because they put in work to get respected for their media platforms too. But it hadn't really been done. I mean, it's no credit. We've seen Angie do it a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Ludacris, but Ludacris was more local in Atlanta, at least maybe all across the world. We didn't see it.
Angie had the machine though. That's a different, that's a whole different situation.
And she had radio. Like, people were so used to her voice every day.
Right.
I think coming from print journalism, it hadn't been done the way, and I started in print before anywhere else. So, you know, I was doing it the traditional way. I would drop an album and then I would work the singles, you know what I'm saying? And what I realized was, you know, I'm on Genius. I'm at Genius every day. If you look at my Instagram, my For the Record talk show was like every week. Like, you will constantly see me in media mode if you just look on my socials. And I didn't have enough content to balance that out with rapper mode. So how can I ask people to see me as a MC, as an artist, if I wasn't showing them that consistently?
Right.
So, you know, in 2020, I had made the plan to do my 1st and the 15th series. So that was me dropping a new single on the 1st and the 15th of every month. And if you come from the neighborhoods and communities we come from, you know the significance.
1st and 15th, you know what it is.
So, you know, I was doing that, and I wasn't even thinking about an album. I'm just like, man, I'm just going to keep hitting y'all till it's undeniable. And then fans kept asking for an album. So I'm going to be honest, I started going in and crafting a new album. And I said, you know what? I don't want to abandon these songs, because also in this digital era, I think sometimes we're forced to move off a song so quickly. So what I did is I took the best from 2020 that I felt was cohesive and could make an album and told the story I wanted to tell, and took all those singles and put it into an album. And I gave y'all one new song, which was the intro, Don't Worry. And then it was kind of the best of 2020. And I was a little nervous because I thought people were going to be like, we heard this shit already. What are you doing? Right. And it was quite the opposite. I think even the people who were tuned in all of last year heard some of their favorite records contextualized in a different way, just with the sequencing and whatever. And then I caught the attention of people who weren't necessarily paying attention week to week. So I say that I did the reverse, right? Like, usually, you know, you'll drop an album and you'll work the singles, and that's what the industry has taught us. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna work the singles, then I'm gonna drop the album.
But to be honest, I love your method much better anyway, because like you said, music nowadays is almost like milk, right? Like, people, you drop a song and in 2 weeks, people often move on to the next thing. If you're able to keep dropping songs and then put out a collective body of work, it'll be received better. So I applaud you for moving the opposite way.
And you know, I'm still not abandoning this album and these singles. I'm actually, on March 1st, I'm starting my 1st and 15th again for 2021. So I'm gonna drop new singles, but that don't mean I'm abandoning the album. We're shooting visuals for multiple tracks off the album. We're gonna continue telling this story. And I say we like I got a big team. It's really just me. but
no, you know, we is me. In today's era, we is me.
Right. But shout out to Devious Minds, produced all over the album. Shout out to my man Cortez, who's gonna do a lot of the visuals with me, and my man Drew at the brewery helped me put it together. So it's not all me, but people will be surprised. It's really like, man, I'm doing the bulk of the shit on my own.
Man, it's just the love of the music at the end of the day. I want to I'm gonna jump around a lot here, Rob. So we're gonna do a lot of this just to try to get people a little more understanding of who you are. Like, in the intro, I didn't say where you worked. I didn't say the companies that have had you in their buildings purposely, because the first thing I want to tell people about is this music that's out right now. But since you kind of talked about it, let's go there. You work at Genius. Can you tell people your role at Genius, my brother?
Yeah, so my official title is VP of Content Strategy. You know, largely when I came to Genius, it was before Genius was making any real significant video content, and it was known for that space. It was still mostly known as the lyric site with the annotations. And I came through to help them book artists, to help be the bridge between Genius and the artist community, and get artists to come back and forth to Genius and trust Genius. So, you know, I started as an artist booker, of course, you know, in artist relations, you know, But of course, me having on camera experience and journalism experience at MTV, I'm doing the interviews, I'm doing the on camera for all intents and purposes. I've started becoming the face of Genius, and that was by design in a lot of ways. And it's grown since then, and now VP of Content Strategy. We put out so many dope shows: Verified, Deconstructed, my talk show For the Record, the Cosign. There's a bunch of shows. So it's not just putting it out and working with our video team to produce it. It's also stepping back and analyzing how the content's performing, traffic trends, what we need to adjust, where we need to go better, the artist strategically, who we should be aligning with. And then I also work with the editorial and the social team just to refine our voice and make sure that there's a oneness in the messages that we're sending. So, it's a lot, man. A lot of people don't know, like, a lot of people see me on camera and think that's it. That might be 25% of my week, if that. Yeah. I manage about 8 people now, what I'm saying, and work together. So it's a lot of strategic plotting, strategizing internally within Genius. And then also, politicking with the labels and the managers and meeting hands, shaking hands, kissing babies.
Just kissing babies. Music, word up.
And keeping relationships tight. So, it's a lot of balance in that area. And also, it's a lot in the branded content space too. We do a lot of branded content. So I'm working, putting deals together, negotiating deals and stuff like that.
Did you ever see yourself in that space? Because I know when you started in the entertainment business, you were a writer. You started doing freelance work for like Complex and Vibe and all these companies like that, and then you ended up at what was your first company? I don't want to misquote.
Scratch Magazine was first.
Scratch was the first.
XXL owned Scratch Magazine, so I was in the XXL system, but I worked for Scratch Magazine.
Right. So when you made it to XXL, you ended up quitting your day job, working in a mailroom, right?
Yeah, I was working in the mailroom at a company called Delia's. And I always say this too, I was inspired by there too, because I always knew I could do more than mailroom stuff. I don't know if a lot of people believed I could make it in this music shit. The mailroom I worked in was right across the street from Hot 97. So I was rapping even then during my lunch break. I'm handing out CDs to Angie, to Mr. C, to Kanye West, to Raekwon, whoever would come in the building. If you know about the early 2000s and standing
Hudson Street was real, dog. Hudson Street was real.
And then, I'm coming from Delia's and a lot of people actually worked there. A lot of dope rappers, Emil, maybe the most famous from Rockefeller back in the day. Wow. So seeing her, just having front row seats to one day seeing her being like a supervisor in the customer service department. And then what felt like, it probably was a lot longer, but what felt like maybe a month or two later, she's on MTV with, talk about Can I Get Her? You know what I'm saying? Like, that was inspiring for me. Immortal Technique, some more of the underground guys, Poison Pen, who's big in the battle world, Pumpkinhead, rest in peace, Bad Seed. So a lot of underground New York legends was in there too. So it was just inspiring to be around that talent.
So you're talking about the whole fat beats era, right? Yeah,
there. the whole fat beats era. So I had front rows to that. I was always rapping. Then I didn't think, a lot of people used to tell me the music thing wasn't gonna work for me. I knew when I first started writing. I used to just want it, when Daily is the place where I worked was a clothing catalog for girls, and I worked in the mailroom. I used to just want to write copy. I was like, let me just write the descriptions. If you ever used to order from a clothing catalog back in the day, we dating ourselves now. The descriptions are easy. All you had 5 pockets, denim, 100% cotton. It was like it was a no-brainer, and they wouldn't even let me write that. And I went from being turned down from writing copy for a clothing catalog to writing for Vibe and The Source and XXL. And a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people believed on me, but I feel like a lot of people shitted on me. And so I guess to answer the question, I never really thought my career would make it to here.
I feel like anybody will shit on a dream if their own dreams have already been diminished, right? Like they already feel like I'm miserable, you should be miserable too. That's the vibe. So when you made it to XXL, how long were you there?
About 4 years, maybe 5 years in total between Scratch and XXL, because I started at Scratch. Shout out to Brendan Frederick, who's also the chief content officer at Genius. He was the editor-in-chief of Scratch at the time, who hired me. It was great. But Scratch folded about 3 months after I got there, so I'm out on my ass again. You know?
Yo, wait, Scratch was the DJ magazine they had, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that shit.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
So, and it was funny because I actually made more money in the mailroom than I was making at Scratch. And I took a chance. I said, man, let me take less money because there's more of a future here. Scratch folded, and then I got to XX, and then I was unemployed for about 3 months, and then XXL hired me. So all in all between, I was in that system, in that building for about 4 or 5 years.
Now, when you were writing for these publications, were you still interested in rapping, or it's kind of like you just put it to the back, like, let me be the writer, like, this is what I do, I'm involved in music now, but just from this position of it?
Nah, I was still making music because it was just what I did. Like it wasn't, I was still making music until I had learned later that it was frowned upon. You know what I'm saying? Like
there was a point where everybody was like, you play your position. You're right.
Yeah, and I get it because, it could be seen as a conflict of interest. Like, yo, dog, give me a verse on my mixtape and I slide you in the magazine. I just never played the game that way, honestly, because I had too much respect for the culture. Yeah. Like I'm just like, whatever's gotten needs to be earned. And that's how I looked at my music. Like, I didn't want a feature from somebody 16 just because I was doing them this other. Like, I wanted to earn it. I wanted you to feel like, nah, I want to jump on this record with Rob. So I was still doing music. I had records on the blogs. Like, this is the blog era now. So we talking about Now Right, Two Dope Boys on Smash, all was supporting me. And
you heard that new, all that, yeah.
You heard that new. And even SK, like, because I knew SK from when he worked at XXL and Now Right, and SK wouldn't post my records at first because it was just like, one, he probably didn't think they were that good, and he was probably right. And then two, he was like, man, this gonna get sticky. Like, you my man, this is just gonna, I can't do it. And Now Right was the biggest blog in the world. And then one day I had dropped a record, a freestyle, and he posted it. He was like, nah, this shit is dope. And he posted it. So I started getting on That Right. So on the blogs, I'm visible. Again, this is the era. I'm still just a writer. So not a lot of people knew my face. They might have knew my name, but they didn't know my face. And I was rapping under a different name back then.
What name, if you don't mind
me asking? Terrible. BK Syfe was my name back then.
Yo, own up to it, dog. That was you. Come on, son.
Yeah. So I was on the blogs. I was putting out mixtapes. I was doing my thing, and was happy about it. And then one day I had kind of got a call, like a late night call for somebody who I trust over at XXL, and was just like, fam, you don't know, but there's a lot of meetings going on at the higher level. Like, there's meetings, like your name is coming up in meetings and about what you're doing. And I'm trying to protect you, but man, I think they're gonna give you the axe behind this rap shit. You're gonna have to make a decision. And that shit fucked me up. Like, cause I was like, damn, I'm just doing what I love. Like, anybody who know me could just ask me what my intentions are and I'd be pure. But at the time, I had 2 kids at the time and my family to take care of. So I couldn't sacrifice the job, even though, and let's be clear, XXL wasn't paying me shit. It was terrible. I was in the dirt. You know what I'm saying? And especially for what I was doing and what the stature was. But I couldn't sacrifice that check and that health insurance and taking care of my family because I wanted to pursue a rap dream. So I had to kind of fall back from that for a couple of years. And I was still doing music on my own in the basement, and I would just send freestyles between me and my friends, but I wasn't putting it out. I was invisible for years with that.
I got you. So you ended up leaving print media and made your way to MTV. How did you make that transition? And was it when print media was starting to die off and you saw it beforehand, like, nah, let me make this jump now? Or was it they called you in on some, we see what you're doing, let us have you now?
It was a little bit of both. Like, print media was definitely suffering. I think at this point, this is like maybe 2011, Vibe had went away. And maybe Vibe was just coming back, but Vibe was going through some trouble and the writing was on the wall. And even though I was at XXL and Vibe was our competition, when I saw Vibe go under for the first time, I'm like, I remember people in the XXL office and a lot of the higher ups celebrating. And I'm like, And
Y'all don't
and
know what's going on.
yeah, I remember speaking to a couple of writers on the staff, like, yo, y'all don't celebrate this. This is not a good thing. Because what this means is there was a lot of talented writers at Vibe. And that means there's more talented writers in the space and there's less jobs now to go around. So that means the money's gonna go, you know what I'm saying, down. Like they pulling the money out of this shit. This is not nothing for us to celebrate. So the source had already shifted from the Benzino Dave Mays era to Londell, and you know, there was the bankruptcy, there was that, like, shit. The source from the Benzino Dave Mays era, they still owe me bread. like I still
from the freelance writing days.
Yeah, I
oh
still,
my
yeah.
goodness.
But you know, you chalk that to the game. I tell people that's my internship. So yeah, print was dying, and I was looking for a way out. But honestly, I didn't even see myself in the digital space. Like I started, I was the first one to sign up XXL for Twitter, and I started doing the tweets. Like I was writing for the magazine and the website at the time. I was learning like HTML and shit like that, and all the back end stuff. And I was like, man, I got to get out of here. Things at XXL just got bad. Like personally, like it got dark. Not even just the business. Just personally, there was a dark cloud. I just didn't feel like I was treated right.
So was it like on some mental abuse type shit? Like people were like
yeah, it was tough. It was and it was me again. Like I ain't gonna take no bullshit, but
at the same time,
like, I got these kids to feed. If I was single, I'm gonna be honest. If I didn't have kids, I'd have probably just walked out. I'd be like, yo, you know what I'm saying, and just left after a while. But there was also great things I was able to do at XXL too. I was part of those initial freshman covers. You know what I'm saying? And a big part of that, and it had a big voice and had a big say so at the time. So there was good things too. And then but I was like, where I'm gonna go? I can't go to another magazine. Where you gonna go? The Source? Like they're on the decline. Vibe is on the decline. There was nowhere to go. And so I'm trying to figure it out. And then somebody was like, yo, MTV got something. And MTV reached out, and those talks kind of died. And then I got into an argument with one of the higher ups at XXL, like a nasty argument, like nasty, like name calling, all types of shit. And I said, I got to get out of here. So I called MTV again, like, yo, y'all want to do this or not? And then and they put the deal together. I went to MTV in 2011.
That's good.
Yeah.
While you were at MTV, it was Rap Fix, and tell me the other platforms you were involved in.
Rap Fix, Hottest MCs was a thing, and Rap Fix started before I got there. The engine was already moving. Hottest MCs was already a thing. Mixtape Daily was a thing. Shout out to Shaheem Reed, was like an early pioneer. Jason Rodriguez was early pioneer. Hillary was early over there. Ramon Dukes, and of course Sway. And you know, they carved out a real dope space. Rebecca Thomas also. They carved out a real dope space at MTV for us to be able to do hip hop in a very, very authentic way. And I'd never worked with Shaheem or Jason when I got there. They had left already, but the seat was still warm. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of heat generating. So I was able to fill a role and then grow myself and help grow MTV from things that they started. So yeah, the main properties was like Hottest MCs, Rap Fix Live, and Mixtape Daily with some of the dope things that we were doing over there.
So you are a part of the legendary covers at XXL, and then the discussions at MTV with the I guess the top 10 greatest rappers, right?
Super fat.
Would you entertain doing something like that at Genius? Because I feel like those conversations don't happen as frequently anymore.
I would. It just has to be right. The circumstances has to be right. It has to be authentic. It has to be presented in the right way. At least for me, and I'm talking personally for me, because and we're working on some things at Genius, and we're building up some ideas that we've been slow cooking for a while. But I was part of some of the biggest discussions in rap and debates.
That's what I'm saying.
But the problem is though, I think the game changed a lot. Listen, man, when we was doing the freshman covers, again, when I started, like the first one I did, I remember I was at Scratch when Elliot, the very first freshman cover had like Plies, Joel Ortiz, Saigon, but it wasn't really branded that way yet. I don't think it was just like a thing It was unclear if it was going to be a yearly thing. The next year is when it really took off. That was Wale, Asher Roth, B.O.B., Ace Hood, Currency, Kid Cudi.
That was a good year.
Yeah, that was a good year. After that was even better. No disrespect, but you know that's Nipsey Hussle, rest in peace. J. Cole, Big Sean, Wiz Khalifa, Freddie Gibbs. After that was Kendrick, YG, rest in peace to Mac Miller, rest in peace to Fred the Godson, Big Crit. After that, I left. After that one, I left. But you know, I say all that to say I was involved in so many big and iconic freshman covers. The conversation was never to troll. We never. I can only speak for when I was there, and I don't believe that XXL does this now. But I can only speak when I was there. We never once had a conversation like, let's put this MC on to piss everybody off and get people talking about us. We didn't need to do that. Just by the nature of what it was, people were going to talk about it in debate. So the object was never to troll. Same thing when I was with Hottest MCs and we were doing Hottest MCs while I was at MTV. I can honestly say, being in those conversations, we never had a trolling conversation like, yo, we're going to troll. We're going to put this. We're going to make this one mad. It just happened by the nature of the conversation. I do feel that a lot of these lists now that kind of go around, and now anybody can make a list, right? Everybody has access to the internet. A lot of these lists go around. Some of them you never know who created it.
Right.
Are meant to troll.
Right.
You know, like I remember there was a list, if you remember maybe last year or the year before, of the greatest MCs of all time. And I think Joe Budden was number 3.
I remember the list.
And there's no disrespect.
No disrespect.
I think Joe is fucking an amazing MC. I've always said that. But number 3 of all time, like it felt like somebody wanted to start a conversation by doing that, you know, or you know, Flex's list and everybody's trying. And I don't know if Flex is trying to troll. And sometimes it be feeling like Flex trying to get people to talk. And
that's the whole point of it, right? You talk about me. So yeah, I get it.
For me, it was always just like I just wanted. Maybe I was an idealist. I always wanted to make the best freshman cover that nobody could complain about, or the best Hottest MCs list that everybody would agree. That's impossible, but that's the way that I approached it. I just wanted the shit to be right, and I don't know if the intentions of media are the same anymore.
I did, because from knowing you, you're a purist. Like you love this music in its purest form, and you want it to be represented properly, no matter what the cost. Like it's gonna be presented to you on a platter the way that it should be. Just going back to some of those discussions that y'all had. Wow, knowing what you know now about some of those artists that you put on those lists that don't write their lyrics, and they were screaming at the time, yo, I'm the best rapper of all time. Would you now put those same people in those conversations, or do you remove them now?
It depends. I mean, no, I wouldn't remove them. I think the game changed. I think if I'm talking about my own personal list and my own best MCs, not hottest MCs, hottest kind of talks about time, like you be hot at the moment, you don't have to be the best. When I talk about best MCs and my favorite and what I hold in high regard are people who write their own stuff, like personally, like that's just me. You know, look, man, you know, if we're gonna be honest, like Kanye doesn't write, you know what I'm saying? He's great in his own right. Or Kanye doesn't write all his stuff. He
doesn't write all his material, right?
He might start somewhere and let somebody finish or let somebody add and take away. There's an editing process, as I understand, to what Kanye does. And it changes. Sometimes he might take a whole verse, sometimes he might pick apart, whatever. You know, it was a big deal when Drake, when we heard the Quentin reference tracks. Like it was a big deal. It was a big deal for me. And especially at that time, I was like, nah, we can't do, like, what are we doing? And over the years, I kind of softened up my stance for that. You know why? Because, I mean, it's fucked up to say not to give up what I believe in, but ultimately the people decide. And to the people, it didn't seem to matter as much. You know what I'm saying? And clearly Drake has written great things on his own. Like, I don't think, you know, the timestamp records, the 4 p.m.s in Calabasas, the 6 p.m.s in New York. I forget the records. I get the times and the cities mixed up.
Yeah, I got you though. But I know you're talking about. I'm with you.
I don't know that there's a writer on Tuscan Leather. You know what I'm saying? Where the beat switches up 3 times. Like those joints just feel so. I don't know though. I'm not in the room, but I think there's a mix, and I think what that does is somebody's going to take bullets for that, but eventually it's going to change how a whole generation of artists create. It's undeniable that Drake is influencing an entire generation that are existing right now. So they're going to create the way that they learn to do it, and it's by watching him and his process. So if it's bringing other people in when you need it, that's what it is. So standing there in the way, like, I can't stop it. My opinion is not going to stop that. You know what I'm saying?
I did. All right, so yo, you've done some cool things with the MTV, and you're a genius. But talk to me about Marvel. How the fuck did you start writing for Marvel, dog? What happened there?
Shout out to Chris Robinson and Angelique Roche. Chris had reached out to me. He's a brother over at Marvel, or he's not at Marvel anymore, but he's a former editor of Marvel. And when you remember when they were doing those hip hop variant covers and stuff like that, they compiled them all into a hard book. And he asked me he reached out to me and asked me if I could provide a quote for the sleeve. You know, when you open the book and it's just Markman says da da da. I think Peter Rosenberg was on there. I think Killer Mike had a quote. So I just talked about how dope it was to see hip hop represented in a medium such as comics. And as hip hops, we grew up on comics too. You know what I'm saying? Like,
facts.
And so we just always stayed in touch. Man, they invited me to the Black Panther premiere. Like, it was all this shit. They just knew I was a comic head. And then they came up with this idea to do this book called Marvel Voices, where they collected a bunch of short stories from a bunch of different writers. I think Method Man wrote something in that book. Charlemagne wrote something in that book. And they gave me, it was a 2-page story. And they said you could write any character you want. And they wanted to empower Black writers and writers of color and creators of colors who normally don't get a chance in that space. So they said, man, you can write whoever you want. And I was like, man, I came up with an idea to write a Silver Surfer story, and they ran it, and that was crazy in 2020.
That's so crazy.
And me and Chris are I can't talk too much about it, but he and I are back at work again on something else. So 2021, I think, it's going to be promising, man. And I've been working with some other people on some graphic novel ideas and stuff like that. So there's going to be more comic book writing, more raps, more interviews in 2021. Yo,
that's amazing. So is that going to be, do you think that's going to be a regular thing for you to be involved with comics? I'm assuming you're a Marvel head already. I'm assuming that off the rip.
Yeah. I mean, my first job ever was in the comic book store when I was 13 years old. The first job I got, and because I was saving up to buy Jordans because my parents wouldn't get them for me. But I grew up in Stop One. Again, if you're from New York, the Stop One and the Optimos, that was our comic book store. It was right next to the Playboy, and then your Spider-Man on the rack and the X-Men. So, we started buying comics in the corner store in the hood because we didn't really have no comic book stores in the hood. And then I ventured out of my own neighborhood in Flatbush, Brooklyn, and to Kensington, and caught a job with my man Damian Scott over at this comic book store. So I've always been super into comics. I'm at all the Marvel movies the first night they're open. I'm WandaVision every Friday night, like tuned in.
WandaVision, tough, boy. Yeah, I'm about to watch the last one tonight.
Nah, they killed that, man. It's so amazing what they've been able to do, because these are B and C level characters. Like,
right.
As much as I'm into Marvel, I'd be lying to you if I said, Wanda and Vision had their own miniseries a couple of times. I'd be lying to you if I told you I read them. Like, I kind of knew the story and stuff like that, but the fact that they turned this into one of the dopest superhero TV shows that we've ever seen is amazing. Like, so yeah, it's gonna be more though, man. I'm definitely I got a lot of superhero ideas, so I ain't gonna stop. And the money is all right too, man. I ain't gonna lie.
That Marvel check is all right.
Yeah, not so much the Marvel one, the independent one. The Marvel one was kind of whatever's, but these independent projects, I'm like, man, this shit might be more. I might get more out of this than music, man.
Hey, man, listen. One of my boys told me, listen, if this movie shit pop off, you won't see me in music ever again. So I believe.
Right. For me, I still would be though, because it's not even about the money. Like, money, I'm grateful to be in a place where it's like money isn't the motivating factor for me. So things are working out though. But but the money is nice. I still negotiate very well. So
I've always seen you around the industry, like we passed in and all that. But the first time we started having conversations was on the Wiz Khalifa tour.
mm-hmm.
I feel like I was with Mac. I was DJing for Mac, and Mac, that's my little brother right there, man. I seen you backstage. I forget what city we was in, but I gave you respect. Said what's up, and you said to me like, "Yo, you out there using the cheat code to warm up this crowd." I'm like, "What you talking about?" Do you remember that conversation?
Yeah. We were backstage. I think it was in New Jersey. I think it was in the PNC.
And you like, yo, you using the cheat code to warm up this crowd, dog. I'm like, yo, this is just what we do. Yeah. I think I forget the order, but I remember it was I think I used Rough Riders Anthem. I might have used a Puffy the Benjamin's record.
Right.
I forget what other record I used, but like you gave me so much love that day. I appreciated you so much at that moment, dog.
Nah, because what it was, and I'm a student in the game, so I'm studying. And Mac at the time, and still New York: A Love Story is one of my favorite albums. Like I remember when Salam called me into the studio, Salam Remy, and was like, yo, I got to play you something. It's this new artist I'm working with. I'm not gonna tell you who it is. I just want to play it and get your take on it. So he played me the records, and I was blown away, dog. Like I was like, yo, this what our city, this what it sound like. Like this is crazy. This gave me a feeling. And then that's why your set to warm it up made so much sense. But I remember Salam didn't tell me who it was. And I said, and he was like, yo, so you think we got something? I said, look, musically, this shit is tight. But it depends, man. It's the music business. What does he look like? Because that's gonna fit with the shit that he's singing. Right. He gotta look like something.
Right.
And then he was like, oh, I think I got a picture of him on my phone. So he showed me the picture. I was like, oh shit. I was like, yo, he kind of looked like Tristan from The Wire. And Salam was like, yo, stupid. You missing the whole point. Like this shit went over my head. Like I was like, yo, this shit crazy. So to be able to see that whole thing roll out and then to see it manifest live on that tour, because I think that was his first tour. And so me already connecting the dots of what these records is, the way his Hennessy record is Mobb Deep's Burn, you know what I'm saying? And the different samples and the Peach the President drums on the other joint. And so when you're warming up the crowd in that way, it just made total sense. It was a dope set. I really enjoyed that shit. And Wiz is my man. Wiz is amazing. I went to see Wiz, absolutely, but I made sure I was there early to catch the Mag Wild set.
And we appreciated that. I bring up Wiz because I know you're friends with Wiz. I know you've actually done some work with Wiz. You hosted a project for him, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can
talk about it.
So yeah, the Taylor Alderdice project, the Wiz project, that was all Wiz's idea. Because I didn't even want to do it. The first time they called me and asked me, him and Will, I was like, that sounds like a terrible idea. I'm like, who wants to hear an interview like me? And it was more about myself. It wasn't even about the idea, but I'm like, Wiz was one of my favorite artists, still is. And how he sold it to me was he used to have these skits. And if you remember Cushion Orange Juice in Flight School, he used to do a Easy Wider was a character that he used to play who was a radio show host. And again, if we're doing the history, that's all for Snoop's because Snoop was such a big influence. Snoop had, DJ Easy Dick. Your balls and all that. So
classic.
Wiz had his version of that. So he was like, you would replace Easy Wider. And I'm like, nah, people love that shit. Like, why would we do that? You know what I'm saying? He was like, dog, I want to take the Easy Wider skits off and I want to put you in between every song interviewing me. And I want you to ask me everything that everybody wants to know. No holds barred. So this is when he first started getting with Amber Rose. He had just signed Juicy J. He was formerly in Taylor Gang. His finances was changing crazy. People were saying that Rolling Papers wasn't all that. Like they was kind of disappointed by the debut. So there was a lot of questions. And I was like, that sounds like a terrible idea. Your music is so dope. Why would you want to break the music up with interviews?
Right.
But Wiz had a vision. So I think like the third time they called me, I said, "Look, man, you my man. If that's what you want to do, let's do it." So we went to the studio. That's really like almost maybe a 2-hour conversation that then they just chopped up. And even when we were done with the conversation, first of all, I was so high. That was the highest I ever been in my life. I was high for 3 days. Fucking with
Wow.
night.
You're serious? Literally 3 days.
Because I think it was like a Thursday night.
Yeah.
We did it. I didn't sleep that night, so we went all night. And then I just went home, showered, and went to work at MTV. So I'm still high. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? And I remember Saturday rolled around, and I still feel it. I'm like, dog.
Yeah.
And I never smoke with Wiz again. I'm like, fuck out of here. I'm not really a smoker. I don't smoke at all anymore. But he was yeah. So even after the interview, I was like, man, I told him, I said, bro, I think we should do it again. Like, I don't think that was it. He said, nah, trust me. You killed it. All right, so I just trusted him, man, because Wiz, you know, he ain't been wrong. You know, his percentage from the free throw line is pretty damn good. And then the night before it came out, Edan, his producer, ID Labs, my man Edan called me. He said, bruh, when this shit dropped, your whole shit about to change. I'm telling you, this shit's so ill. And they dropped it on March 13th. I remember it was my son's birthday. And my shit changed. Like his fans embraced me so much. I remember my Twitter followers shot up some ridiculous percentage. Like it was crazy. And people still hit me about this tape to this day.
Yo, Wiz's fan base is loyal. That's the truth. We got a chance to see that being on tour with him, you know, like, and knowing he literally goes out every year. Every summer, he's gonna do the outdoor arena tours.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna sell them joints out with whoever he puts on the bill with him. They coming out. Just a quick point about Wiz and smoking. I don't smoke, but I got a chance to watch him perform from backstage, and you know, numerous times on the tour we went on with him. And I've never seen someone take smoke breaks instead of water breaks when he goes backstage. Yeah. It's literally like his like elixir. You know what I'm saying? Like he gets his energy.
Like Popeye with his spinach.
It's facts. That's what it was for him. I was so amazed. It was like something brand new I'd never seen before. But he went back out there. Second part of the show. Rock.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And I grew up around weed, man. I come from a long line of smokers, and I never, and you know, when I was younger, I used to smoke more often, but I found that I could never be productive. I'm the type that's on the go, and I'm always into something and doing something. And I found like I would have to smoke. It's like Jay-Z is just once in the blue when there's nothing to do. Like I would have to have nothing on my schedule to get high because I couldn't be productive and high.
Can't be productive. You're gonna sit down.
And it hits people different ways. Like, you know what I'm saying? I seen Wiz be highly productive and do amazing things and we be a part of that. It makes a lot of sense for him, man.
That's facts.
God bless him, but I never smoke with him again, man. I tapped out. Look, I know when I'm beat, man. I said, ain't no saying too. It'd be like, man, Wiz smoked you out? Hell fucking yeah.
Let's move on to the point where you finally decided to start releasing music. I feel like you left MTV, moved to Genius, and was it while you were at Genius that you were like figured out like, listen, this in me, like I think now's the time to start releasing what I'm writing?
Yeah, you know, the real story is I had never stopped. Right. Yeah. So I was still recording. There was some people like Logic was one who encouraged me. One day me and him was on a road trip. He's like, man, you should put some shit out. Like I'll produce it. Like, go ahead. And we never got to that point. But, you know, I would send him freestyles here and there. We would just send each other music. And this is why I was still at MTV. John Bellion is another one. I don't know if you know of John Bellion. Amazing songwriter, amazing artist. I would send him stuff. He was super encouraging. Sway, you know what I'm saying? Like you just pass me.
Yo, Sway. I love Sway. B. Sway is the legend. But go ahead.
One of the greatest. I mean, you know, he really gave me a lot. Like he's part of the reason my career is where it is. but yeah, so I was MTV. I was doing it. Went to Genius in 2015. 2016, I'm on the Breakfast Club, and I'm doing an interview to promote Genius.
I remember this, but go ahead.
And I'm doing an interview to promote Genius, and I had no like inkling, or I wasn't going to talk about me rapping or anything like that. It just wasn't. And Charlamagne came up and he said, "Rob, I love your story because you're a journalist and you show these kids that they don't have to just be rappers to make it in this game." Rob, thank God you never used to rap. You know what I'm saying? And it was at that moment I was like, okay, I could just gloss over that and keep going. Mind you, the Breakfast Club is the biggest platform in our culture.
That's facts.
Currently, and it's been like that for a long time. And right. All my friends that I grew up with and all my peoples was watching. I knew that, and I said, "Damn, if I don't stand up or at least say something, you know, I'm gonna look like a sucker to the people that really know me."
Right.
So I was like, "Nah, actually, I used to rap. Like, I definitely had the period where I was rapping." "Oh, Rob, get the fuck out! Oh man, for real! Oh my god!" Da, da, da. So Envy's like, "Spit your first rhyme," and then I was like, "I don't remember the first one, but I could spit you the last one I wrote." And I had just written something and I spit it, and it was acapella. They was like, "Yo, that shit was kind of good. Like, holy shit!" And I remember that aired, and first person to hit me was Killer Mike. Killer Mike was like, and Mike, me and Mike don't have a relationship where we don't talk all the time. It's not like, but you know, there's a mutual respect and love. I love Mike. Killer Mike hit me. He said, "Man, I see you. That was dope." Like, yeah, go ahead. And Hovain, my partner Hovain, was like, "Yo, you want to do this? Because I think we could get you a situation." And Hovain linked me up with Ghazi and Nima at Empire, and they got behind me and put out my first project, Right to Dream.
That's dope.
And Genius, and the flip side is that Genius was supportive. Like, I went when I signed the deal, I went to Genius, and it wasn't like asking permission per se, but they knew before anybody. Like, Genius, we were doing something totally different at Genius than what I was doing at MTV, than I was doing at MTV at XXL. So I said, "Listen, this is what I'm planning to do, and I just want to make sure it sits right with you guys. You know, like I just want to make sure it feels good. This is what I want to do. These are my intentions." And they were like, "Hell yeah, go for it. That shit is exciting. We're behind you." And they trusted me to be able to do this and not slip.
And not be biased or overstep your bounds with
or not hold up my end of the work. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like I was going off. And honestly, when I put the record out, you know, a couple of people were like, "Yo, you are in work every day. Like, when did you have time to do this?" You know what I'm saying? I was like, I did it on my own time when I was done, you know. So yeah, and so they were super supportive, man. So that shit was dope. And that was 2017 I put out the project.
Now, it's such a different time now, though, right? Because I feel like nowadays it's a lot more accepted to be multi-versed with your energy. Like 10 years ago, that wasn't necessarily the case. Like you said, you had to hush about your business at XXL because you didn't want to get fired. We look at so many different people now wearing so many different hats. So I think that's so dope that your people at Genius was very supportive about the progress. Like, and not for nothing, it only helps them as you being the face, quote unquote, of the brand. You know, with you being in all these different places doing these other things. I think it's a dope avenue that they're happy with you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. And two, I think it's just a sign of the times. I think a lot of this new generation and even the generation after me has defined that in order to make it in this industry, you have to be multifaceted. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing this out of passion. But it helps. Like Daytwan Thomas, who was once the editor-in-chief at XXL and once my boss and a mentor and a brother to me, once told me when he found out I rap, he said, "Dan, that's why you connect with artists the way you do." Because he was like, "Yo, you different." Even before I was putting stuff out, he was like, "Yo, you understand the process." There was artists that knew, like, even if you watch, I got a real famous 2015 interview with Kendrick Lamar that I did at MTV right after he did To Pimp a Butterfly. And that was a real conversation that we had, and I was really trying to pick his brain just about rap and how his mind works and how he was able to take these complex ideas and weave them into a story lyrically, right? And at one point in the interview, he was like, "Yeah, he was like, Rob, you know what it takes to do this. We've had many conversations about what you do and da da da, and so I do this." And this is just me and him talking, and the cameras are going. And I think that went over people's head. Kendrick knew I rap for years
Yeah.
before the world knew.
Yeah.
So it was coming up in the interviews in very subtle ways, but it was a tool that helped me, I think, connect to whoever I was talking to at the time.
Yeah, because you understand the intricacies of penning, a story,
Right.
the double entendres of a verse or a line, like you unpack it differently than a DJ or a novice who just listens to the music. That's a great point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. So
now first project was called Write the Dream. Second project, what was the name of that project, brother?
It's Too Late at the Wake.
Too Late at the Wake. And now the third project is out right now. Yeah, like I said, I love this project, dog. Yo, I love this project, dog. You said you're shooting new visuals for it. Can you tell us what the next single is gonna be?
The Dakota.
Okay.
Yeah, the Dakota is the next single is the video. So we shot the video, we're editing it now. So it'll be out shortly. And and then I'm just gonna take it from there. We got a lot of ideas. I want to shoot a video. Cortez really wants me to shoot a video for Don't You Worry, which was the intro.
Don't You Worry is dope.
I want to shoot a video for Parkside Freestyle. We got to shoot a video for Easy Money Sniper. So there's a lot of stuff coming.
Pardon me for already forgetting the name of the song, but the song where you're talking about your neighborhood and you're seeing all the negativity that's happening with the crack and everything like that. What's the title of that song?
Still Hear the Screams.
That needs a visual.
Yeah, I really want to do a video for that. I just got to be able to pull it off right. It's one of those things. If I can't get it exactly how I see it in my head, then I'm not going to do it. But we're going to work on that too. But we're going to slow cook that one, man. And that's one of those records too. Like when I was telling you, like records that I previously released, I just didn't want them to be disposable. Like to me, that's a timeless record. Like the second verse starts, they raped the girl right in front of my crib. Dial 911, cops didn't do shit. I was 10 years old when I witnessed that shit. When I first realized I was different and shit. So what I'm saying is that was a story from when I was 10 years old that still feels relevant, still hits you, still impacts you in 2021. Like, so I'm not going to sit here and treat my shit like it's disposable personally. And I approach hip hop the same way. I approach, even with my interviews, when I interview somebody, whether it's 2 Chainz or Polo G, like, let's unpack this shit because it come from a real place.
It's facts.
Lil Durk, let's unpack this shit. We're not going to treat this shit like our shit is not the most lyrically complex, dense, relevant, emotional music in the world. No disrespect to Taylor Swift. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's facts though, yeah.
Like, we're going to stop treating this hip hop shit like it's fucking disposable and that everybody don't take cues from us. That's why it hurt me so much when Post Malone and he backtracked and apologized for it. But when he had made those comments years ago about hip hop is not being a genre that you can cry to.
Right.
And I'm like, have you
that was such an ignorant statement. It was such an ignorant statement.
Like our shit, and there's no disrespect because we like to party and have fun too. Our shit is just not turn up music. And I'm sorry, this shit is not just, and this is for anybody, black, white, whoever. This shit is not just color your dreads a certain color, get some fake shiny jewelry and you're a rapper. Like, our shit is more than this. Like, the look is going to change, but what's going to remain is the feeling and the soul of this shit. And if you're not contributing to that, you kind of just wasting our time, man. And that's how I feel. That's how I feel about my music, and that's how I feel about the culture as a whole.
No, you're right. But there's always going to be, in any field of business, because that's what we're in at the end of the day, there's always going to be people that are looking to just make some money. You know what I mean? So they find a way to get involved in the business and then, you know, disappear when it's convenient, you know? So,
No, and not even her. And I say Taylor's name. I think Taylor's actually a brilliant writer. Like, I hear shit that
absolutely.
she does in her writing, like for the genre of music that she creates, and I'm like, yo, she's a dope fucking writer. Like, she's an intentional writer. And where the no disrespect part that I say is that as hip hop, as rappers, as MCs, we could say so much in one bar. You know what I'm saying? Like, even my record, and I'm not comparing myself to Taylor Swift or anybody, but even my record is Still Hear the Screams record that's about the crack era. Like, yo, that's unpacking generational hurt. We're talking about the 80s and the very early 90s. And it's 2020. And what I'm saying is I could still hear the screams. Like even though the crack era may have quote unquote passed and the drug might be different, yo, the way families have been hurt from generations is still affecting us. That's such a complex thought that you can't get in a pop record. You know, and I wrote that record, actually, the pandemic made me write that record, because what happened was in New York, there was articles and there was a lot of people flocked to New York for opportunities, right? Who aren't necessarily native from here. And there were a lot of articles going around in credible publications declaring New York is dead because the restaurants shut down, the nightlife was done, you couldn't go to the bar, and that hurt New York for sure. But I'm sorry if you came here from Iowa and you have no more use for the city because your favorite restaurant is closed or your favorite bar is closed, or you came here from Wyoming or Dakota, wherever the fuck you came from. Like, I'm sorry that you feel that way. But the ones of us that are here and have roots here, we got bigger issues. We got COVID and we still dealing with the shit that was done to us generations ago, because crack wasn't no fucking accident.
Facts.
And that shit didn't just happen. And I feel you. While those blocks that y'all gentrified in New York, that's cool now to live on and whatever, and the cool bars, I'm glad it can bring you happiness. But I could still hear the screams. As native New Yorkers, there's certain avenues that we could go where we could tell stories. Yo, so-and-so used to live in this building before they tore it down. So-and-so got shot here. So-and-so got arrested here. So-and-so got raped here. I could still hear the screams. And that's what that record is really about.
Well, Rob, we could sit here all day, brother. We've been here for almost an hour. I don't want to take up too much of your time, family.
Yeah, that's all good.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is my friend Rob Markman. Rob, can you tell people where they can find you online, brother?
Yeah, just everything my government name. So it's probably spelled out on the screen over there, but it's ROBMARKMAN. And that's on Twitter, that's on Instagram, that's on TikTok. Most importantly,
wait. Before you get out of here, you have a TikTok?
I got one video that I put up.
Ah, come on, Rob.
Listen, they said that's the way. They said you want this music to move, you better get on TikTok. For the one video I have on TikTok is I did a record called Me, Myself, and I on my album, where I
love that record too.
Singing the Beyonce hook.
Right.
And so I just timed me singing with the Beyonce video. So you see Beyonce's mouth moving, but you hear my voice. So I thought that was a cool TikTok. But
I don't want to see Rob on there doing no dances on TikTok, fam. I don't want to see that.
Nah, I don't think I fuck it up. But yeah, Rob Markman everywhere. Most importantly, Rob Markman on Spotify, Tidal,
Facts.
Apple Music, Amazon, wherever y'all listen to. Y'all can just search the name of the music is there.
Facts. The album is out right now, ladies and gentlemen. Go pick that up. All right. We'll see y'all next time. This is Wave Files.